Okay. Yeah, sure. Yes, I totally agree with you. It was a bad idea to move to the kitchen. There's far too much going on. People are dyeing their hair. They're blowing their nose. They're
eating their
breakfast.
With
they're
honey.
scheduling their appointments with the Cat Protection Christmas League.
Yeah. Oh, the cat newsletter. I think somebody's calling me upstairs again.
What?
Well, that's what I mean. Come on.
Oh, I'm following
your
you
ass.
upstairs. Okay. Wait. With this. With this system, it means I have to follow you everywhere.
Yes, you have to follow me everywhere.
Oh my God.
I'm the leader.
What?
I'm the leader.
Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Will's toilet brush broke.
Uh-huh. You think it's funny, but you're going to have to fish it out of the toilet.
He's only been awake for like 30 seconds and he's broken something already. Man, that's going to be a record. Or maybe not for him. But, got this endless sets of stairs in this place.
You laughed, so you're fishing the toilet brush out of the toilet.
Have you ever seen so many pheasants in your life? Look out there. Out the window there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 10 pheasants. I thought...
Go help him.
Why do you need to hold the toilet brush above the toilet, Will?
Because it broke.
What? What are you doing?
Go and grab it. Stop asking stupid
questions. I don't know what
questions.
he's doing. Will, what is the problem? The toilet brush is in your hand. It's not in the bowl.
But it broke.
Well, why don't you put it back into the toilet brush holder?
Yeah.
Can you
What's wrong with it? What's wrong?
Can you put it back into the toilet brush holder, please?
I can't
That's
put it back.
right here.
I can't put it back in there without it tumbling totally down to the bottom and all the way.
That's okay. Just put it there.
And the other two pieces?
Just put that in there. Yes. Thank you. Good. Now check it out. There's a screw. See?
I noticed.
Okay, so screw
But
the
do you
top
think
back
you can
on.
put the top on and then screw that on?
And then clean the toilet properly after you've done that. You're gonna have to take it out first, mate.
Stop laughing.
Oh, I'm sorry. It just appeals to my sense of humor this morning. That's it, and then take the other
And then
part.
you screw the top on. The screw.
Yeah, there we go.
It's not broken. It's just unscrewed.
There you go. Yeah, it's just come undone. It's not broken at all.
That's it.
And once you've done that, everything will be back to normal, and you can go back to cleaning the toilet again.
That's it. Is it tight enough?
Is it tight on? It's not gonna come off.
Did you tighten it properly?
Really tight?
More, all the way. Okay.
Because my hand slipped.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. See, problem solved. Crisis gone. Good job. We fixed the toilet brush. We helped Will to fix the toilet. Don't forget to wash your hands, Will.
Yes. The trials. The trials of life.
And tribulations. What
So,
that means.
Will's cleaning the toilet.
Jasmine's watching the Paw Patrol and Zora's eating breakfast.
Yeah. Babka is dying.
Uh-huh.
And
Her hair is.
and Jedko is...
laughing at everybody else, probably.
Don't know. Jedko is like playing about with stuff. You know, it could be this. It could be that the all-seeing, all-knowing person of the entire universe is Jedko, but no one's realized it yet.
Do you think I could dye my hair pink?
Well, yeah, but then you just look like a social justice warrior, and they're all lesbians who love unicorns, and that's okay. But
what's wrong with me looking like a lesbian who loves unicorns? What do you have against lesbians who love unicorns? I think they're cool.
I think that they look like their lives have become kind of disasters because they feel that that's progress. like dyeing your hair pink, and they
Well,
end up
maybe they
getting like a
don't
weird
think-
tattoo of a frog
Maybe they
or
don't
something.
think it's progress. Maybe that's what you think they think. Maybe they just think it looks
Oh no,
nice.
actually, I have watched many videos of discussions with these groups of people, and that's not everybody, it's just people who represent these groups of people, and I still have to find one which has any logic or sense in it that's not full of hate and victimization.
You
one
really
that's got
think
any-
that? You really think that
Oh no,
women
wait.
women
No,
dye
no.
their hair because they think it's progress?
No, I didn't say that. That's an exaggeration. I said the social justice warriors have this idea that it's for them some expression of their freedom, which they see as how society moves forward, and I think it's just the fact they're unhappy with themselves. Deep down inside, they're unhappy with themselves, and that's why they do it. And I've seen interviews with these people where they talk about whatever it is their interests are, and I'm still waiting. And I'm telling you, I've maybe watched 100 interviews with these groups of people, and I've still to see any single one where there's any foundation in anything which is useful to society.
Is that why you would have a problem if I dyed my hair?
If well, I'd have a problem with taking something which is nice and turning it into something which is extreme, using probably some strange chemicals to do it, which probably wouldn't be good for your hair. So I don't have any. Obviously, I don't have a problem with anybody choosing to do whatever it is they want to do, but I do have an interest in understanding the reason, the methodology for why people do what they do. Because when people say, "Oh, I'm just doing it just because I can do it," that's never ever the reason.
I've
There's
never
always-
heard anybody saying that, actually. I'm
I've heard a
doing
lot
it
of
just because I can.
I've heard it. I've heard it 1,000 times. Just because I can is used all over the place.
It's finished
So-
already.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was
there's
a
this,
short
there's
one.
this,
Do you know how
tr-
to put on another
there's this social justice trend for women to dye their hair pink. Now, it's like the social justice warrior movement is pink hair. I mean, that's seriously, that's what it is. It's part of.
What
the
about
movement.
if somebody
It's a
just
tribe.
likes pink?
Pink hair?
How about somebody just likes the aesthetics of it?
Pink hair.
It's like, I could say...
Well, what about the practicality? I think aesthetics are nice. I agree.
I could say that the
What's up? What's up, Will?
Oh, I was just wondering if I could get breakfast.
No,
So go downstairs and get
is not-
breakfast.
Breakfast is banned.
go downstairs and get breakfast. Well, nobody's stopping you. Go ahead. So, yeah, it's like me saying, oh, there's a skinhead movement in Slovakia where all these neo-Nazi people shave their heads, and your head is shaved. So I'm just going to say, I don't like it because it reminds me, because it looks like you're a part of that movement, because all the neo-Nazis shave their heads, right? I mean, that's just not very
Well,
logical, right?
Well, let me give you a counter argument to that, which is throughout history, men having shaved heads has been completely normal. Seriously, the same way that throughout history there have been movements where men having dreadlocks has been completely normal, or men having long hair has been completely normal.
Women dyeing their hair has been completely normal as well. In the ancient
not
Rome,
not pink. They didn't dye their hair fucking pink in ancient Rome.
in
I'm
ancient
sorry,
Rome,
no.
they dyed their hair using pea. They would pea in a big barrel, and then they would dip their hair into the pea to dye their hair blonde.
That must have been slightly unhygienic.
I don't think unhygienic. It was just thinking.
You sticking your head,
Stinky,
sticking
yeah.
your head in pee is not unhygienic.
Pea, fresh
think-
pea is actually good for you.
Well, yeah, I know that people
Yeah, it's good for your skin.
drink fresh pee in order to get the nutrients back into their body that their body has thrown
I
out.
don't know
'cause they
about
need-
drinking it, but I know that
I
you,
do.
you apply it topically.
I haven't done it, but I've read about it. The doctors recommend that some people drink their pee
Yeah.
because they need the nutrients that the body's getting rid of. They need to put them back into the body.
It's the ammonium as well and stuff. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I think you probably know more about that than me. So
Anyway, I know that you apply
in
pink
ancient
topically.
Rome, people did not have pink hair, and it's the number one social justice warrior trend to have pink hair. The number two trend, if you go and check it on the internet, seriously, the number one social justice warrior trend is to have pink hair. And I have yet to see, if you have pink hair, then like you will be the first cogent person that I've seen or heard of with pink hair.
I would just do it to piss you off now.
Well, yeah, I know you would. I know you would do it just to piss me off,
But I would do it because I would like it and to piss you off, right? I wouldn't do something that I don't like just to piss you off, because that would be stupid.
Let's people automatically, connect things to whatever movements they know and they understand, right? Okay, let's say, so I know that it's the number one trend for social justice warriors to have pink hair.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So you having pink hair reminds me of that movement. Does that mean that you are part of that movement? No. Does that mean that you have connections to that movement? No. So, do I have a problem with that? No. I just know that a lot of silly people do it. So, and I know that you're not silly, so I wouldn't want you to put yourself into that category. Now, in the same way that if you said to me, I want a tattoo of a butterfly on my leg or whatever, right? I would be like, I know that certain types of people get tattoos of butterflies on their legs, yeah? And I was like, well, that would associate you with that kind of group, and I don't think that would be too cool. But, do whatever it is that you want. Or the same way that if you drive a certain kind of car, you get associated with a certain group of people, right? And I would say, like, okay, some people want to be associated with it and some people don't. Some people care and some people don't. I know that the social justice warriors have this trend, and I know that they're in general very, very well-meaning, but often intellectually corrupt. So they want to balance out society, but they don't understand that they very often push the balance too far. Code Pink, as we discussed last week, that organization has been well known to go too far over the edge in the way that it does things. And having pink hair is one of the references is to the organization Code Pink as a social movement. So I think before people do things on a whim because they feel it's the right thing to do, they ought to spend a little bit of time looking at what does that one thing mean. The same way that if people are going somewhere on holiday, they might want to research, okay, why is this a good place to go? Who else goes there? What time of year is the best time to go there? How can I get the best deal? Which travel agency should I use? Which mode of transportation is the best? What kind of accommodation can I afford?
Blah, 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 blah.
No, it's processing the data and the information. To do something without fully understanding what that thing means,
I think it's important to know what it means for you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just said that you would probably do that to piss me off.
I mean, I don't care whether people associate me with something or not. I mean, it's my hair, right? If I like it, I'm going to do it. Why do I give a shit whether somebody associates me with something? I don't. I honestly really don't.
I would question whether or not that's an entirely true statement. Because we all want, whether we like it or not, we all want to fit into society. None of us want to be, excluded from what's going on. And the result of wanting to fit in is that we conform to certain norms, or maybe our standard is to not conform to certain norms. But it's really important to understand that when people go around and say, I don't care what people think about that, and myself included, I've used that phrase many times, there's a certain element of that which is actually counterproductive to everything, which is that we we want to be inclusive because life doesn't mean anything if we're not included.
Well, yes, but I don't want people in my life that judge me depending on what my hair looks like. I want people in my life who will give me the benefit of doubt and spend time learning who I am, learning more about me, right?
Okay, now why do you think I had dreadlocks for 15 years?
You could be bothered combing your hair.
No, that's not true. That's not the answer to the question. Well, it's an answer, but it's not the right answer.
Because you had a pneumonia and they formed on your head and you said, well, whatever, I might as well have dreadlocks. It's a story I heard. That's what you told me.
But that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I got ill for 2 weeks. I was in bed and I had a fever and I couldn't get out and I was sweating and did whatever. And you know, when I finally got healthy and I had these dreadlocks in my long hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let's just go with it. You know, I'll keep it and let's just go with it. And
well, there you go.
It is what it is. So that's that. Now so it wasn't an intentional choice. It was a choice to live with the situation that existed. You know, I guess if I had wanted to, while I was sick in bed, I could have made an extreme effort to make sure that I didn't have dreadlocks, but that was not really my focus. My focus was, you know, trying to breathe and, you know, sleep and get well. And one of the results of that was exactly what you said. It was exactly what you described. It was, you know, wanting people to treat me as whoever I am, no matter how I look. And I experienced that, you know, directly for 15 years. I had
so that's what I mean when I said that I don't give a damn about what people think, because I don't. Because if people are going to make judgments about me based on what I look like, then I don't want those people in my life.
And that was my opinion for 15 years.
Well, there you go.
And I now look back on that and I question whether or not that was the right thing to do.
Well, that's you.
I think it's very important to look back and question that. Will, can we help?
Oh, I was just going to tell you, I'm having a buttery, and that buttery looks like the Millennium Falcon.
You're having a buttery that looks like the Millennium Falcon.
That's good. Eat it.
That's excellent. You better eat it before I come downstairs and eat the Millennium Falcon.
Or before it flies away.
Or before it flies away, even. Yep. Okay. So.
He's having Millennium Falcon for breakfast. That's so cool.
Yeah, I question whether or not that was the right decision to make, and I think that there's a very strong argument on both sides, and I would give the advice to other people to not do what I did because it's not worth it.
What's not worth what? I don't understand.
It's
not worth what?
Having an image which is challenging to other people is perhaps not worth the struggle of having that image.
Which is challenging to other people.
Yeah. Very often life is like that.
So, having pink hair would be challenging for other people.
Of course, yeah, naturally it would.
How would it challenge them?
How would it challenge them?
You mean it would challenge them to look beyond the pink hair?
Yeah. And they wouldn't do it because that would be too difficult for them. That's too difficult for most people. Which the argument is, well, that's why I'm doing it. But
I don't think it's too difficult for most people. I don't.
Well,
I honestly don't. I mean, people just the same way, like you said, it's more difficult to find people who don't have tattoos now than the ones that do, right? I think it's the same way with all areas of personal image these days. I think people are getting much more open about what other people look like. You know, just like tattoos are not only for prisoners anymore and criminals. Same way colored hair is no longer only for, I don't know, prostitutes or social justice warriors, what you call them.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a personal
or
perspective.
whatever. I think it's your personal dislike that you're kind of projecting into the situation. Maybe.
No. What I want to say is there are things that I like, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I like autumn, right? I like when the
You
the
don't.
leaves.
You're always complaining about it raining outside.
Look, that's not autumn. That's all year in this part of the world. Okay, right. So it's not true that I don't like autumn because it rains. That's not a true statement.
Okay,
right?
you like autumn, but you don't like rain.
I like autumn. I like to see the colours changing in the trees. And
Okay.
I think it's really nice. So I like that time of year. The same way that I like to see the natural state of things. Like I like the fact that I have white hair in my beard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people would be like, "Oh no, white hair." I'm like, "No, I kind of like that. It's just nice for me to see that, and I like things in, I guess, as close to a natural state as possible."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so any psychologist looking at elements of tattoos or colors of hair or fashions understands that all of these things are extensions of the personality. They're not disconnected from the personality. They're extensions of the personality. You can't change any of these things without it expressing part of your own psychology and personality.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that are normalized are not good. This doesn't mean that people are not good. It doesn't mean it's all bad, but you have to understand. There's a lot of normalization of things which are not good to do. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
So are
in
you
society.
including coloring your hair in those things that are not good to do? That is being normalized. Just to stick to the point, right?
Yeah, I think that I think that personally, I prefer people to be in as close to a natural state as is comfortable for them, and I think that coloring your hair an extreme color is it's not going to cause problems for me. It's going to cause problems for other people reacting to that, and you're not going to see that at first the same way that I didn't see that with having dreadlocks. But I now know for a fact, and I don't have a problem with this. I'm just telling a fact. Like, it's not like I've got an issue or a problem with this. It's just a fact. Not good, not bad. It's just a piece of information that I lost 75% of my clients over my image.
You told me it was the other way around when you did have dreadlocks when we talked about it.
That was a different argument.
You told me that your dreadlocks were a brand, and if you cut them down, you would lose clients because of it.
Yes, those are two completely different things. They're connected, but they're completely different. You know, the wheels are not the engine. The engine is not the wheels. They affect each other, but they're not the same thing. You've got to be able to separate those things. They're not the same thing. Those are two different arguments. They affect the same topic, but they're not the same argument.
Did you lose clients when you cut your dreadlocks? Because of it?
Did I lose clients because I cut my dreadlocks? No.
So that was bullshit?
No. Because that was after, not before. That was before. I was talking about before. When I had the image that I had, some people chose not to work with me because they thought that I was not serious about what it was that I was doing. And they didn't expect that. Yeah. I had people that walked into my school and then turned around and walked straight back out again. Because of that image. So that's the example of that. By the time I cut my hair, I had already established the clients that I wanted to work with. And they had already knew who I was, and so that made zero difference. Then after I cut my hair and I worked with new clients and showed them pictures of how I looked previously, say 6 months or a year before, they were shocked and indicated to me that perhaps they would not have chosen to work with me if I had had that image. because they expected something
Well,
different.
that's okay. That's
So
normal.
that explains that explains why
It's
those
natural when
things
you
that
work
you
with people,
said
yeah.
were a contradiction are actually not a contradiction.
Okay. Well, that's natural when you work with people. I think that's why in professions like teachers and bank people who work with people and insurance agents and stuff have some kind of dress code, right? Have some kind of image code. You can't go to school, dressed in whatever you want to be dressed in with your
You can't go
hair
to if you're a student.
dyed
You can in other countries.
No, I'm
most other
talking
countries.
about teachers. Right, dude. You have to keep some type of certain social image so that you provide like a semi-serious.
Yeah,
role
which
model type
I have
thing.
a strong reaction against because I understand why all that exists.
Mhm.
I don't think I think that hopefully society will get to a point of intelligence where you don't have to dress a certain way to get a certain person's respect, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, I
We're
understand
not
your
there
point.
yet.
Yeah, see, one of the advantages of my job is that I don't have to give a damn because people don't see me. They judge
But
my work by how I keep my appointments. They judge my work by the quality of the translation. And they judge me by the quality of my communication, especially the initial communication when we are agreeing on the details. But they don't see me. They never see me. They may see the picture that I have posted on my website, which I haven't changed for years, because I have no need to do that, right?
Yes, but there's something that you're forgetting about, which is really important, which is there are things that we can predict. Like you can predict certain elements of the future based on the past. Like you can say, because this has been this way up to now, and I have experience of that, and I know how people react, that it will continue. There's also a counterpoint to that, which is something could change 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year.
Well, if something changes, I can always change. I don't have to stay the same. I can dye my hair today pink, and in 3 months, when a circumstance change and I have to go and look for a job in a bank because I go bankrupt or something, I can always dye my hair back.
Yeah,
I don't have
you
to-
can. It would seem like a
I don't have to
long way around.
Yeah, I
the
don't
issue or
I don't
problem.
have to live my life or limit myself because what if something bad happens?
Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. Absolutely don't focus on the negative. But
Yeah.
but I'm not focusing on the negative. I'm just saying, what if an opportunity presents itself that otherwise would not have? So to be open in society, which is very very often closed, is difficult. Now, there's an argument that society is very open, but and is much more open than it has been in the past. Yet at the same time, there are agendas and values that are changing. For example, in the last week, Facebook has removed 500 pages of conservative websites.
And what does that have to do with my hair?
Well, it's an example of how social movements that the aim is to focus society's attention in one specific direction, which is the fact that to get people to think like that pink hair is going to be some kind of somehow advantageous for self and progress, which in fact it's got nothing to do with that at all.
I don't think that. I don't want to dye my hair pink because I think it's going to be advantageous to my progress. It's not.
Well,
it's
what I'm
just
saying is that there's a
thing
deep.
of aesthetics. It's just like, I never did that before. I wonder what that would look like. That might be
Well,
nice. I'm
well,
gonna try it out.
I would say that That's not strictly true because
My thought process.
the dyeing your hair pink right now would be part of the cultural trend. There's a massive cultural trend to dye hair pink
Yes,
across the
absolutely.
world.
And I'm
So
totally
saying that you're not doing it because of reflecting what is happening outside.
I didn't say that. I said I don't do. I react to what you said about self-improvement and progress. I don't think it's a part of. I don't think about it as something that will move me, that will better me in any way.
So you want to do something just for the sake of doing it? That's
just
not
because
in
I
any
think
way.
it might be nice. Just like when you paint a picture, or just like when you decide to eat a battery, or I don't know, just for the enjoyment of it.
I understand that. I
I
think that the idea would not be in your head at all if it wasn't strongly promoted
Well,
as a social
absolutely.
movement.
Well, that's true. I mean, if I didn't
So it's
see
not
nice
your
pictures,
idea.
if I didn't see nice pictures of it on Pinterest, I would probably not think about, oh, wait, that might look nice. That might not pop into my head. I'm influenced by everything that's happening around me, of course. Of course.
Yeah, so it's not coming from inside of you.
Well, it's not. I didn't come up with the idea of dyeing my hair. I've seen other people doing it, and I thought it looks nice, and I'd like to do that maybe. A different color than that, but it might look nice if I dyed this bit here and left that one untouched, and, Of course I got inspired by things that I saw around me, yes. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, I think that you're missing the bigger point of the fact that you have that nobody has any control over the cultural movement, and this has been so far negative for a lot of elements of society.
Right, so... Yeah, okay, never mind.
What's your point?
Well, you're putting things together that don't necessarily... It's exactly like my point about the neo-Nazis and you're not having hair, right? It's exactly the same point. Exactly the same. I don't...
Well, neo-Nazis is not a strongly promoted cultural movement.
I might associate...
It's not promoted by... It's not promoted by social justice, left-wing political agendas.
Well, it's promoted by right-wing. Who cares? Who cares who it's promoted by?
Extreme right-wing perspectives would be nationalism.
Yeah. And shaving your heads and wearing heavy boots and Bombetti and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, on one side you've got like the Nazi image, right?
Yeah.
Like as extreme right-wing perspective, which is, if you get into it even more, if you get beyond this image of left-wing and right-wing, it's a higher level of thinking, right?
Yeah.
Then, first of all, on one level you've got this extreme right side, which is the Nazi, and then you've got the extreme left side, which is the
pink-haired people.
Pink-haired people who believe everything should be equal, right? And
that sums it up.
And understanding that equality is such a complex social issue that the quest for it is a complete impossibility, because you have to understand the basics of it.
I'm not getting into it with you again.
Oh no, go back to my article. I wrote an article about it last week called Mind the Gap, and I laid out the points.
I'm not.
Cogently in the article.
I'm not, because it's going to piss me off, I know that.
Well, the truth does. You always piss people off before they
Well,
see
I
the
just
logic in
look.
things.
We've talked about it before, and I don't know. My views are different than your views, so I don't really need to read.
But
your
you have
views
to
again
you have to
because
understand
nobody
as well.
told
The
me
extreme
that.
left wing and the extreme right wing views are actually promoted by the same people.
Yeah, that's great. But
extremism-
my point was that you look like you belong to the extreme right wing, but you don't, right? And I know that. So, who cares whether I look like I belong to the extreme left wing if I don't? You don't care about people thinking that you're a neo-Nazi because you have no hair. I don't care about people thinking that I'm I don't know, whatever movement you could associate me with, which I think is utter bullshit, to be honest, that I'm not part of. So, I mean,
yeah, it's still an interesting choice to make a conscious effort to look like something that you're not part of. It's an interesting choice.
well, no,
It's not an interesting choice.
It's not an effort to look like something that I'm not a part of.
Oh, so it's an effort to look like something you are a part of.
Oh, so shaving your hair was an effort to look like a neo-Nazi, even though you're not part of them.
Sure, my head is practical.
Well, there you go. You did it for your own reasons. I would do it for my own reasons.
And
I wouldn't do it to look like I belong to something that I'm not part of.
I didn't
It's just the
say that you would do it for that reason. I asked whether or not there was a connection there. Because it's unusual to do something without specific reason.
Oh, I already told you the reason.
Just because. The reason is just because.
Well, because I might like the aesthetic of it.
So it's just because.
No, it's because I might like the aesthetics of it.
It would be an interesting experiment, that's true. And there would be elements of the experiment that are unpredictable as well, which would be interesting.
I might end up with my hair looking green.
Yeah, exactly.
Or with half of my head falling off.
Yeah, or putting chemicals into your hair might cause your hair to permanently change in a way in which you would not be happy with. The general advice is don't use chemicals that are not, they're not good for you. And changing your hair color usually involves some kind of bleaching, which is not good for the hair and the roots of the hair and the development of the hair. So that would be kind of a reason not to do it. And that's a good difference to point out, right? You would have to go through a process of using chemicals which are bad for you in order to achieve your result. Me shaving my head is just like, this is the natural. This is like what I have to cut my hair in some way, so I want to cut my hair. So I want to spend as little time as possible on it. So I shave my head and then I let my hair grow for a couple of weeks and then I shave it again and I let it grow and I shave it again and I let it grow.
I thought that you had a problem with the color. I mean, look around you.
You thought
Look
you
around you.
thought I had a problem with the color.
Yeah.
Of what?
The color of pink. Because women.
Why? Wait. But that's not true.
No.
Why would I have a problem with the color pink?
Yeah, I thought
it's
you
like
had
having a problem with the color blue or the,
yeah,
or the color red.
I thought you had a problem with me dyeing my hair an extreme color, just to quote you. Because I bet that you wouldn't be as concerned if I decided to, I don't know, dye my hair brown. Because
well, what was my first question?
I've got a few grey hairs.
Okay,
right?
what was one of my first questions about
I can't remember.
Okay, it was what chemicals would you use to do it?
I don't know. I haven't researched any dyes
Yeah, because
yet.
my concern is about doing something which is healthy, right?
Yeah, but my point is that 99% of the women that you see around you dye their hair. You just don't see it because it's not pink.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for the fact that they feel they have to go to great lengths to try to on one side mask who they are, on another side present an image that they're comfortable with.
It's not about masking who you are.
I didn't say it was.
Yeah.
I said there are two perspectives on it.
It's not that they want to mask who they are.
I didn't say they did. I said there's two sides to it. I didn't say that. I didn't say that they wanted to. They all wanted to mask themselves. I said that
it's one of those things that society expects of you as a woman.
Society expects women to color their hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so wrong.
Yeah, I know it is.
That's so horrible that society cannot accept people as the way that they are.
You're welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
Same way society expects you to shave your
armpits. There's not all societies that are
armpits.
like that. Sorry.
Society expects you to shave your armpits. Society expects you to shave your legs. Society expects you that when you go to...
Society's wrong. That's not society. That's not society. That's broken people.
No.
That's broken people.
Everybody,
Broken.
Jay.
Yes, well, these people...
Everybody.
You're broken. Broken people expect people to not be people.
If you go to the swimming pool and
Put
you
that on a T-shirt. Broken people expect people to not be people. Somebody put that on a T-shirt somewhere.
now,
Yes.
if you go to the swimming pool and you see a woman that's running around with her beaver hanging out of her panties, right?
What, like her VJ?
Like the pubes. And you see the pubes like sticking out of all the sides of her underpanties. The first thing
where would you see this?
in the swimming pool, right? If somebody doesn't shave their sides, I mean, they would have like hair sticking out everywhere, right? So you go to the swimming pool and you see something like that. First thing that you do is judge, right? I'm not talking about you personally, but 99% of the people. First thing that they do when they see something like that is, oh my God, she could have shaved herself, or oh, she let herself go, or there must be something wrong with this person. She must be like clinically depressed or something because she didn't shave her pubes off.
Yeah,
and
none of
she's, like, sticking them out everywhere,
which
right?
are probably true.
And
So
because it's something that is expected in the society. The same way when people see
Can I make a point? That problem can be completely avoided by wearing, like, the women can buy like the swimming shorts.
Yeah, the point is they shouldn't have to.
Women shouldn't have to.
They shouldn't have to hide their pubes. That's my point, right? Because it's natural, right? But yet society expects you not to have pubes. It does, which is completely weird, right? But society expects
broken.
you.
Like
to
I've
have pubes,
I've
right?
never thought about that in that way before, and my response to that is horrible.
Yeah, and the
wrong.
same way.
And wrong. It's not going to improve if people keep conforming to it. If you
Same
conform
way.
to something which is wrong, you don't make it better.
The same way, people expect a woman in her middle age not to have grey hair. If you've got a woman that's middle aged, like she's like 40, right, and she's got strands of grey hair in her brown hair, which just beginning to pop out, everybody's gonna think, well, she let herself go.
I don't know what that means. She let herself go.
She let herself go. She's not taking good care of herself. It's
What, she's
considered.
not, people think that people who look natural don't take good care of themselves.
Yes.
Those people are broken. Why would you conform to fit into the thinking of people who are mentally unstable? Which is what looking at someone and saying, oh, their natural grey means that they're not looking after themselves. I mean, that's a screwed up, fucked up person.
Yeah, but that's exactly the same point that you made when you were talking about your dreadlocks and why you shaved them off, because you wanted to in some way conform to the society who expected you to look differently if you were to be taken seriously.
That statement is so far away from the truth that it's beyond belief.
Well,
That
but
statement
you said that after you took your dreadlocks off, you opened new doors to people, to clients, because they wouldn't take you seriously.
Yeah, but those are two
otherwise.
entirely different statements that you just made. You just made two completely opposite statements and said they're both true.
I didn't.
You did, because you said, to quote what you just said, you said that one of the reasons that I shaved my dreadlocks off was to open my work and my business to new clients. That's absolutely not true. And if you go back and listen to it again, that's what you said.
It's not true that you shaved your dreadlocks to be taken more seriously.
Absolutely not true.
No, so why did you do it? Because that's what I understood from what we were talking about before.
I did not do that at all. I'll tell you why. Okay?
Yes, well, you can put on another one.
Okay, yeah.
I was going to ask if I could have a slice of bread.
Yes, of course.
Yes, put on
Go and
another
help
one first
yourself.
for your sister, though. Okay.
They come automatically.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh God. Okay, great. Okay. No, have you? Now I explained this to you before, and you've obviously forgotten. I'll explain it to you again. The reason for me to shave off my dreadlocks had nothing to do with my business. Zero to do with my business. Did it have an effect on my business? Yes. Did I do it because of my business? No. The reason that I shaved off my dreadlocks was because we were teaching Will to swim at that point in time. And we were going to the pool a lot, and I was also doing a lot of fitness activity and doing a lot of swimming as part of that. And my hair was constantly wet all of the time. and it became uncomfortable having the hair constantly wet, and I made a decision about a year before I shaved my dreadlocks off that if this continued to be a problem and I continued to do the fitness and training activities that I was doing, and I continued to have contact with water, it was just going to be so completely ridiculous that that it would be much more practical to have very short hair or to shave my head than have the dreadlocks, because it just became beyond practical at that point in time.
Okay. So I used the wrong causality. I'm sorry. So that wasn't the cause. That was the effect of what you did.
Sorry,
anyway,
what was the effect? Sorry.
That your clients, new clients, took you more seriously without your dreadlocks.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. So.
But it absolutely wasn't the cause. It wasn't the reason for it at all.
Yes, but it's the same thing. We're talking about basically the same thing, that society perceives you in a certain way depending on what you look like, right? So it's the same thing with women dyeing their hair. If you've got a woman who's got her makeup on and her hair is dyed so that she's not grey, and if you've got a woman who's got like grey hair showing here and she doesn't wear makeup, then people are going to automatically assume that the hygiene habits of the woman with the makeup on are better, and that she's more serious in whatever she does
broken people
than the other person.
Conforming to the ideas of broken people.
Everybody, your employer,
then everybody
go to the office.
Then everybody is broken and everyone is wrong in that area,
yes.
because and that's not good to conform. It's not good to conform to the ideas of broken people.
I bet you that if
eventually
an employer,
you break yourself.
I assure you that if you had an employer in the bank where you work with people and he had to like sack one of the women, right? And he would definitely choose to sack the one who does not look like she takes care of herself, which is what people would assume, right? I mean, you might not like that.
Look, you're
you
just
might
talking
not
about
conform, right?
If you are working for a broken person, then
it's
you
not
can expect
just the
broken
broken people. It's the society. It's everywhere. You can close your eyes in front of it if you want and say it's just the broken people, but it's not. It's everybody. It's a broken system. But it's everywhere.
That's not a true
reality.
statement. That's not a true statement that it's everybody. It's if you are basing your life on the decisions of people who are obviously making the wrong decisions for the wrong reasons, because it's not true, then nothing is going to improve.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to if you want to keep a job. If you want to feed your family.
What point are you making?
If you want people not to judge you, right? I mean, we're talking about judging. You were telling me that I don't want people to associate me, or you were not saying it directly like this, but basically the point was that people would associate me with a certain movement if I dyed my hair. Same way, people are going to associate you with, let's call it a lower caste, if you don't dye your hair. The only difference is the color of the dye.
They're not going to associate you with a higher caste if you do dye your hair, though.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's the same. I'm making the same point. That I'm making. My point is how extremely wrong it is that on one hand, society should judge you because you dye your hair, and on the other hand, society will judge you because you don't dye your hair, and the only difference is the color.
There's a difference between a judgment based on that which is natural and a judgment based on that which is unnatural.
It is absolutely unnatural to dye your hair any color.
Exactly, and it's not unnatural to be natural. I mean, that's a tautological statement, but I mean that's an important point.
I'm just trying to make a point that who cares? Women are already dyeing their hair like crazy, right? I mean, I don't care if I don't care whether people judge me or not because I don't dye my hair, then I don't care whether people judge me or not because I do dye my hair. That's the point.
An inaction is rarely the same as an action.
Yes, but telling me that I should be aware of the fact that people will associate me with a certain group if I dye my hair, and then on the other hand say, well, the society is broken because it judges women that do not dye their hair. Can you not see the contradiction in that?
I can see the point that you're making, which is that there is truth in both of those statements. I don't think that contradicts itself, that there's truth in both of those statements.
Well, it does, because on one hand, you're basically saying that...
point out clearly the contradiction.
I'm trying to. On one hand, you're saying that women should not dye their hair for the sake of fitting into the system, for the sake of people not judging them, right? Because those are broken people. But on the other hand, you're telling me that I should not, well, not directly, but you're saying that people, or maybe I should not dye my hair pink because people might judge me. Don't you find that as a contradiction? On one hand, you're saying that...
That's not my point.
On one hand, you're saying that women should not conform, and on the other hand, you're saying that I should conform.
Yeah, my argument is something completely different. My argument is about the natural elements.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to show you how that
you've presented two arguments which you feel contradict each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making either of those arguments.
Oh, you were. You were making the argument that having certain color of hair would associate me with a certain group of people that I don't want to be associated with.
That's not an argument that I'm making. That's a fact. That's a fact that I'm presenting as part of
that was an argument against me dyeing my hair pink, though.
The argument I have against dyeing your hair pink is first of all a natural argument about what's natural. There are other effects. So dyeing hair pink will cause you to be associated with certain social groups. That's unavoidable.
So we're not dyeing your hair at all?
Yes, which is the point that my point that an inaction is not the same as an action. Right? The choice to live is not the same as the choice to not die. Because there's a whole bunch of different thought processes surrounding
I understand
how the mind
that.
is working.
But what's
About what you see as the positive element and what you see as the negative element, right?
Yeah.
The choice to live is a positive choice.
Mm-hmm.
The choice to not die is a negative choice.
Yeah, I understand. What does that have to do with dyeing my hair?
It has to do with the motivations, the psychology, the reasons, the effects. It has a lot. It has a lot to do with it, because there's very little action that's not predicated on a thought process.
Well, obviously.
Of some kind.
Yes, unless it's like your vegetative functions, right?
Yeah. We don't want to be vegetative. Now, I get the argument about conformity, which is, as if I try to understand your argument is that whatever you do, there's some level of conformity and you're subject to other people's opinions, whatever happens. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was saying that on one hand you were promoting conformity to a certain level by not dyeing your hair because you don't want to be...
I don't think pointing out facts is promoting conformity. I wasn't saying that you have to conform to anything at all. So I wasn't... It's not saying that I was promoting it. I don't think pointing out facts is promoting something.
Well, you were promoting looking serious. You said that you now advise people... You would now advise people not to do what you did with your hair, for example. Right? That's
Yeah,
promoting some.
Yeah,
sort
I
of
would advise them in a different.
serious
I
image.
would advise them
Uh-huh.
in a different way. You
Okay.
know, I would say, what I would say to people is, it's a game. It might be beneficial to you to play the game. It would have been more beneficial to me to play the game, but that was not my point. That was not my aim. That was not my goal. But I'm in a situation where my role within my work is not to tell people about what I did and what was good for me. It's about to help people.
Yeah, I understand. That's not okay. That's not sidetrack.
Excuse me. Lost my coffee.
My point was that in saying that, you were kind of promoting conformity, because you were promoting that if people want to play the game, they should basically go by the rules.
Yeah, and like, if you're not going to play the game and not go by the rules, you might as well go off the deep end, right? You might as well do everything not by the rules, right?
So
because doing a little bit not by the rules is I think not being true to either sense. You know,
Yeah.
maybe you want to bend the rules here and there. I mean, that's fine for some people, but you know, you either want to be on the reservation or off the reservation. You don't want to be hanging around the edge of the reservation.
Well, I think you can be whatever you want to be, you see. I think if you like to be hanging on the edge of the reservation, then that's where you should be. I think if
you
want
like to be there, but that's going to
one
cause
thing.
problems for the people around about you, because, for example, from a I need to take a drink. From a business
You want to go and have another piece of bread?
No, I'm just
No.
gonna ask if they can watch another.
Yeah, we'll be ending in 2 minutes. I can't have any longer conversation. I need to work.
And I'm going to give myself a sauce bread, okay?
Yes.
Well, you don't need to ask before you go and get bread. Yeah.
Just go and eat whatever you
help
can see.
yourself, mate. Yeah. Yeah, like hanging around the edge of an idea is it might be beneficial at some points in time, but from a business perspective, it's always better to be in or be out, right?
Yeah, I've lost track completely. I don't see how that applies to dyeing your hair anymore.
How does that apply to dyeing your hair? Well, it applies to the point that I said earlier, which is, you know, if you're gonna do something which people are going to consider as extreme, which is how people are going to react to what it is that you do.
I don't
which
think it's considered as extreme anymore. I think like
what, to dye your hair pink?
Everybody has it. Yeah.
Yeah, every
There's a lot
it's
of
n-
people
look,
who
first
dye
of all,
their
it's not
hair.
everybody who has it. Second of all, it's only people in certain groups of society that have it. Okay, that's really important to understand. Yeah, you don't find the people going you don't find the people going to the elite private schools dyeing their hair pink. You don't find them getting tattoos. And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying that element of society does not involve itself in those kinds of activities.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And that's an important thing to understand. And I think if someone's going to go, what I would say, describe as off the reservation, which I think dyeing your hair pink is off the reservation, like, you know, me having long, thick dreadlocks was like pretty extreme and off the reservation because nobody had as long and thick dreadlocks as I had. You know, I was like pretty much the extreme perspective of that. Right.
I've seen a lot of people with dreadlocks.
No, I've seen a lot of people with dreadlocks, but I didn't meet anyone in the last 2 years that I had dreadlocks. I didn't meet anyone, and I don't think there was anyone in Slovakia who had longer dreadlocks than me.
Oh, the guy who lived in Bystrica, in the downstairs apartment. It's pretty long.
The
His
guy who
dreadlocks
lived
were
in the
like under his
downstairs
bum.
apartment where?
In Bystrica, the last flat that we lived. There's a guy and a girl who
Yeah,
lived in
they
the-
were not as long as mine.
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't.
Down to his R's.
They were not as long as my dreadlocks. Okay, so maybe there was maybe there was 5 people in 5 million. Okay, but it was definitely an absolute minimum, right? So maybe there was like 5 people in the country who had dreadlocks as long as I had. Okay, So that was extreme. So I think when you're going to be off the reservation, right, when you're going to do something which is extreme, dyeing your hair pink for anyone who's not part of the social movement that's doing that, it's an extreme activity, right? So or for anyone who's not got a vested interest in it, right? I think someone should should fully embrace that, right? Not just a part of it, because like if you dyed your hair pink and you wore like a business suit, right? That just wouldn't it just wouldn't fit for like most people. You don't see many
I don't
nice pictures of women
really
with pink hair.
wear business suits.
Yeah, but and that circles back to a point I made earlier, which is that people don't know, and this is not an argument for not doing it. This is just a point, right?
Okay.
Which I think is interesting because it circles back. Which is that we don't know what's going to come in the future, right? And there might be opportunities to do things which benefit having pink hair, and there might be opportunities which don't benefit pink hair. And I think there's a higher probability of there being opportunities that don't benefit pink hair. Now I could be wrong with that, because it's the unknown unknowns, right? We don't know, but that's my experience.
That's actually an argument for me doing it. Because it's like, do it now while you can, because in the future there might be times when you won't be able to do it anymore. So if you want to have that experience, you should do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. If the only time to do something is now, because you don't know if you'll have another opportunity to do it, and it's important to the person to do it, then because it's important to the person, it's probably worth doing it. Whatever the activity is. If that is the reasoning behind it, if that is the full reasoning behind it, but that's not a very deep reason.
Well,
right?
No. I never said I had a deep reason for it. I always said that it's just for the aesthetics of it.
And back to my original argument, there's always deeper reasons. People don't understand them, they don't see them, but there's always deeper reasons. Always deeper reasons. There's always levels and layers to everything. There's very, and I say always, again, that's an extreme statement, it's probably not true, but it's extremely rare for action to happen without reason. And reason is process. And going back to the origin of process is understanding. And most people don't make that effort. And that's actually important for people to do. It's actually important for people to have kind of a feedback loop within their own mind where they go back to understand the origin of what it is that they do and why it is that they do it. And this idea that something can be just an impulse and without greater understanding is to not understand all the effects of the actions that we do.
I have to finish now, because I won't be able to do my yoga and have a shower and prepare lunch and finish my work today if we don't finish this conversation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking to me today. And have a swell day. No, yeah, I'm still probably going to do it, but thank you. I might choose blue though.
I think blue would be better than pink. I like blue. Look, it's not that. Look, I'm not saying I don't like pink, which is what you said earlier. You said you just don't like pink. That's what you said.
No, I didn't say that. I mean, you've got a problem with the fact that it's
pink.
An extreme
yeah,
color.
it's the same thing. You just don't like pink. Is the same as you've got a problem.
Yeah, well,
pink.
you had a problem with pink because you said it associates code pink. So.
Look, I didn't have a problem because it associates with code pink. It associates with code pink is a fact.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it's like me putting pink clothes on Jasmine and saying, "Oh, wait, I shouldn't dress her pink because it might associate with code pink, and she's not a feminist, right?" I mean, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a non-argument,
Yeah. So,
right? Because I don't. That's
so
a
you like
projection.
blue more, do you?
I think that, because when someone's dyeing their hair, you don't know exactly what the result is going to be,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can go for
It might be khaki. You
yeah. I
never
mean, people
know.
go for red and end up with pink, right?
Yeah.
People go for green and end up with brown.
Sometimes people end
Right.
up with purple when they're trying to dye it grey.
Yeah. So there's, this is again, it factors into the unknown stuff, right? So
Well, that's why it's fun. That's part of why it's fun.
yeah, well, it doesn't take away from the fact of that I don't think people should be shitting chemicals onto their fucking brains, anyway. So I don't think that's a good thing to be doing. So I think whatever it is, it's actually entertainment value, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's entertainment value. And I think,
It's fun and it's nice.
I don't know if it's nice. I don't know yet if it's nice. I can't tell you if the future's nice because I haven't experienced it yet, right? So, whatever it is entertainment. And I think the entertainment value of green or blue is higher than the entertainment value of pink. Now, I'm not saying... No, I'm serious.
Right.
I'm serious. Because
Yeah.
less people have that. Right? So I think the entertainment value, that fits into the category of less is more. I think in the entertainment value there, I think that green or blue or red would be more entertaining than pink. No, I'm not saying better because it's just a color, right?
Mhm.
It's just a color. White, black, whatever, it's just a color.
Mhm.
And if you look at it from the spectrum of colors, but if you look at it from terms of entertainment value and you measure it in that matrix, I would prefer you to have blue or green or red than pink.
I don't like
because
red, and I don't like green because that associates in my brain with vodniks.
What?
Vodnik.
What's a vodnik?
Vodnik. It's
Plumber?
No. Yes.
What?
No, it's the water
What?
monster that lives in lakes.
What do you call a plumber
Ponds.
in Slovak?
Vodar.
Oh, difference between vodar and vodnik.
There's a big difference between vodar and
So
vodnik.
if I say like
yes.
musím zavolať
Vodnik.
vodnik, it's going to be a bit fucked up, right?
Vodnik is the monster that lives under the water and ponds and lakes and drowns people and keeps their souls.
Whoa, what? These things don't exist, right? Or they exist only in Slovakia.
Of course they exist. It's a person with green hair that lives underwater in a pond and it drowns people and it keeps their souls in cups on a shelf.
What the fuck is that?
The vodnik.
And you have these in Slovakia?
Hmm. That's why it's advised not to go swimming in a random pond in case the vodnik grabs your foot and drags you down and puts your soul in a cup.
Man, that sucks.
Can keep you as a wife as well sometimes.
What? As a wife?
Yeah.
Some people might like
Don't
that.
you know the ballad about the vodnik who...
What?
Don't you know the ballad? There was a woman. She was
Who
going
lived
to
in a
wash her...
shoe? What?
She went to the river to wash her clothes, right? Because they didn't have washing machines back then. And the vodnik snatched her and pulled her down to the bottom and kept her as a wife.
What?
But she was very unhappy and she wanted to go and visit her parents. Yeah, but she had a child with the vodnik, yeah? So the vodnik said, okay, well, you can go and visit your parents, but I'm going to keep the kid here so that you come back, because he was worried that she wouldn't come back to him, right? Because obviously she wouldn't want to, yeah? So he said, you can spend 3 days with your family, but then you have to come back. So she went to spend 3 days with her family, but her mother kept going, oh, don't go back to him, don't go back to him, stay here, yada, yada, yada. And the woman didn't want to go back, but she had her child there, so she was like torn, right, between staying with her mother and going back to her child, yeah. And the mother kept going, don't go back, and she locked the door, and blah, 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 blah. And then the vodnik came, right, after 3 days, and he came knocking at the door, and he said, come home, my wife, I'm waiting for you. And she wanted, and she was like, am I gonna go? Am I gonna stay? And that door was locked, and she was like asking her mother to let her go, and her mother was like, no, you stay with me, don't go back to him. And he went knocking again, and he said, come back home to me, my wife, your son is crying, he wants you to come back. And she was like, oh, I have to go back to him, but she was very scared as well and everything, right? And the mother didn't want to let her go, and then the vodnik knocked the 3rd time, and he said, this is the last warning, come back home. And she could hear her child cry, and then the vodnik didn't knock anymore, and the child stopped crying. And when they opened the door, the vodnik was gone, and the child was dead. That's a real story. Well, it's not a real story, but
and it really happened, my friend.
It's a real book it's been written by Erben. He's a famous Czech. He's the famous Czech ballad writer who wrote ballads with tragic ending. It was like Czech Alan Edgar Poe.
Yeah, isn't that
He's
just
really
like
good.
the basic
Really
psychology
scary.
of women?
I
They're
don't
torn
know.
between their mother and their child.
It could be.
Yeah. So I mean, there's this basic psychology there, but
You've got an evil motherfucker
you
guy
don't-
as well.
so basically you're saying you don't want to look like a vodnik.
Yeah, that was my point.
that
Yeah, I
was
don't
your
want to
point.
look like a vodnik because vodniks have green hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would go for blue though. I mean, that's kind of like a baby blue, sky blue, or turquoise or something. It'd be nice.
Turquoise is difficult to achieve now.
Well, I don't know. What do you know about achieving turquoise on your hair?
I colored my hair once.
What?
The shit that you don't know.
What?
The shit that you don't know.
What did you color it? Khaki.
Red.
You colored your hair red.
Yeah.
Because turquoise was too difficult to achieve.
No, I didn't want to do turquoise at the time.
Oh, right.
So
No, I don't
you're
like
talking to somebody who's been there,
red. Oh, there
right?
you go. I don't like red. I would go for turquoise though, or baby blue. Yeah, anything is hard to achieve when you've got dark hair. You have to bleach it first.
Yeah.
Probably
I
several
don't think that the chemical process is the right thing that people need to be doing to their hair, but I'm not against experimenting for the sake of experimenting, right? And I think that there are higher values in other colors than pink. So that's what I'm saying. Is that the entertainment value of the other colors would be more cool.
Well, I don't know.
I think you differentiate yourself in an important way.
I will think about it. I think I will think about it. I think you just don't like the pink.
You're not
hair
listening to
because
you
associate it with something. Like I associate green with vodniks. You associate pink with feminists. I think that's why you do.
Can I not just like one color more than another color? Do I have to have like this association problem? Can I not just?
Because there's always a deeper reason to everything. You don't understand. Now I'm just quoting you. There is a deeper reason behind everything, even behind your own personal preferences of colors. So
Yes, yeah, I know. I know that's an argument. I get it. Are you going?
I'm going to I have to go.
Are you gonna?
I have to go. I seriously have to go and live now because the Paw Patrol has finished.
Be there on the double. You see? That was a rant, wasn't it? That was a rant. Time for yoga, absolutely. There you go. There you go. When things get disrupted, they really get disrupted. That's it. I don't know how I'm going to edit all of this stuff together. I might just leave it. I don't know. Should I leave it? Should I edit it? Should I chop it up into little bits? I don't know. Let me join the melee of the madness. Have a great day wherever you are. Oh dear. At least it's not raining.